Welcome to all. Teachers in classrooms, they are facing with the initiative to how to increase the interest of the learners. For that purpose, they may use different strategies. One type of strategy it is to inculcate or to use audiovisual materials in the classroom. In the presentation of the selection of the audiovisual materials, what is important? It's a theory that is put forward by Edgar Dale's cone of experience. In today's discussion, we are going to discuss about what is the cone of experience, how the cone of experience is classified into different stages. So this topic is part of MAAE 004 of Master of Arts in Adult Education program that is provided by School of Education. In the concept of the cone of experience, generally two questions arises. What are the two questions is that the teacher may ask, how can teachers use audiovisual materials to promote learning that persists? Number two, how can audiovisual materials enable students to enjoy learning through vicarious experiences? So here, these two learning questions that we have seen, it is important in each and every teaching strategy, or especially while selecting the audio-visual materials. We know that the learning aids, the teaching learning aids play an important role in the process of learning, and there the teacher has to use some kind of discretion what type of learning aid should be selected. In this context, Edgar Dale's cone of experience is becoming more important. So Dale's work, when we look at the Dale's work, he is indebted to John Dewey. So how he is indebted to John Dewey is that Dewey stressed the importance of the continuity of learning experiences from schools into the real world and argued for a greater focus on higher order outcomes and meaningful learning. So here we can see that how John Dewey has emphasized the pedocentric approach to learning that influences Dale's work, that is cone of experiences. So as an introduction, when we look, when this cone of experiences was introduced, it is actually published in the book Audiovisual Methods in Teaching, which was published by Edgar Dale in the year 1946. So how Dale introduced the cone of experience in that publication, where he stated that what is important is the cone plays different educational media and methods in a continuum, that the continuum is going on from the most concrete to the abstract level. So the continuum is going from the bottom to the top, where the bottom part consists of the concrete things, and while coming to the top, it is dealing with the abstract senses. So when a learner moves from the direct purposeful learning, there we can see that the participation of the learners are more. And from that level, when the learner moves to the top, what is coming is that the abstractness is increasing, where the participants, learners are becoming less, and they are becoming more observers, and then they are becoming the real thinkers when it comes into the actual abstract terms. So here, as I stated, his work is influenced by the theory put forward by John Dewey, so that we can see that Dale integrated Bruner's three modes of learning. We can see that Bruner's discovery model of learning is important, where we can see the integration of the three modes of learning into the cone by categorizing learning experiences into three modes. When we look at the theory of Bruner, we can see that there are the three stages, such as the inactive stage, the iconic stage, and the symbolic experience. So let us have a little bit discussion on the three stages that was put forward by Bruner, where we can see that Bruner emphasizes the first stage or termed the first stage as inactive. Inactive means learning by doing. So here, what is happening to the children? The children try to understand the concepts by imaginary things. So in imagination, they have different kinds of things. So they are utilizing that type of thinking in their thought process. So their information is made through imagination. Then comes the iconic stage, where the learning through observation is happening. So this iconic stage, we can see that they try to imbibe the information through their senses. That means they are observing many things, and through their senses they try to understand the information. Then coming to the symbolic experience, that is, they have reached the higher stages where they try to understand the abstract terms. For understanding the abstract terms, what is important is the signs and symbols are becoming more important. So when we look at the screen, we can see that how Bruner's three modes of learning, it is integrated into the cone of experience. There we can see that at the bottom, there the direct purposeful experience is coming, where it covers the direct purposeful experiences, contrived experiences, and dramatized experiences. Coming to the iconic experiences, that is learning through observation, there covers demonstration, study trip, exhibits, educational television, motion pictures, recording, radio, and still pictures. These things are coming at the iconic experiences. Then comes the symbolic experience, that is learning through abstraction, where we can see the visual symbols and the verbal symbols. So this is about the integration of the Bruner's three stages into the mode of or into the cone of experiences. So let us look at the cone of experiences in more detail. What we can understand is that generally the cone of experience, what is presented by Edgar Dale, whether it is actually conceptualized in the real sense. This is one kind of thing that we have to debate. As we browse through the Google search, we can see different shapes that is coming. So here we can see that there are shapes such as telling about the different percentages, regarding the percentages. So here what is coming important is that the percentage of the retention of the information is important. In some figures, when we look, we can see that there are different stages explaining, as well as what we can see is that besides the different stages, there gives the numbers or the percentages. So here we can state that the corrupted cone, the common misconceptions about the cone of experience is giving. So here Dale intended to produce an intuitive model of the concreteness of various kinds of audiovisual media. So here the cone is sometimes wrongly classified as the learning pyramid or the remembering cone or the cone of learning. So this is the way that why we can see that the cone of experience is interpreted in the media. So what is important here that we have to show is that the misinterpreted cone, how is it misinterpreted? When we look at the misinterpreted, we can see that in some figures it is represented as percentages or numbers. That generally what is that percentages or numbers denote is that it is related with the retention of the learned facts or the information. So what is the retention of learning? Normally, there we can see that 10% of what a learner read, 20% of what they hear, the 30% of what they see, 50% of what they hear and see, 70% of what they say and write, and 90% of what they do. So in this way, some kind of percentages are given against the 11 stages of the cone of experiences. So here, when we look at the cone of experiences, we can see that that is not important, the percentages. It is misinterpreted. Edgar Dale doesn't make the level of the cone equivalent to the level of the learner's ability to recall. It's not like that. So first, there are some kind of misconceptions about the concept of the cone of experiences. One misconception is that the percentage. It's not the percentage is important. So what the next thing about the figure, a pyramidical shape, or sometimes the name itself denote that it is the shape of a cone. But when we look at the shape, it has nothing to do with Edgar Dale's actual work. We can see that it is like an inverted cone. Just for a visual analogy, he has used the shape of the cone. So what is important here is that it's a visual analogy where the abstractness is coming at the top and the concreteness is starting at the beginning of the cone. So this is not a hierarchy of learning efficiency. It's like a visual analogy. So while climbing through this visual analogy, the learner's abstractness is increasing. That is important. So there, the second misconception regarding the shape, that is clear. And the third one, where he emphasized that more concrete experiences should be given to learners. When you read some literatures, you can see that such type of connotations are there. It's not like that. Because all the learning, all the experiences, whether it is concrete or abstract, it has value to the learners. It has something to give to the learners. So what is important is that the teacher should make a balance between the concreteness and the abstractness while selecting different media or mediums to present the facts. That is an important thing. So here, the second misconception is also clarified. So now we can see that the actual cone, how it represents. So the actual cone consists of the 11 stages. So that actual cone of experience is displayed on the screen, that at the bottom, what is coming? The direct purposeful experiences. So here the actual cone looks like the circles where the concreteness is at the bottom and going up, the abstractness is increasing. The 11 stages, that is direct purposeful experiences, then the contrived experiences, the dramatized experiences, demonstrations, study trips, exhibits, educational television, motion pictures, recordings, radio and still pictures, visual symbols and verbal symbols. So this is the hierarchy of the cone of experiences. So here at the bottom, when we look, we can see that this include the direct experiences, contrived experiences and dramatized experiences. So when we take the case of the direct purposeful experiences, we can see that the learner is doing something and getting the learning directly. That learning by doing is coming. Contrived experiences, that some kind of it has some kind of relationship with the reality, so that some kind of models or something is prepared and then showing to the learners. Then comes the dramatized experiences, where we can see the co-creation of the reality. The learners are becoming the participants for the creation or the co-creation of the learning experiences, where they can attain the knowledge. Then comes the study trips. What do we mean by the study trips? The study trips, when we look at that, it has some real experiences, going through different places, observing and having a first-hand information. Then comes the exhibits. So there, through the exhibitions or what is exhibited in the museum, the learners will get an understanding that what an object is. Or suppose different kinds of rocks. In the museums, they can see the types of rocks so that they will get a replica of the real objects. Then comes the educational television and motion pictures, which can be combined together, where we can say that it is an example of this audio and visual materials, where the learners will get the senses through eyes. They will get some kind of understanding through ear. They can listen to the words. So this direct purposeful experiences, which is at the bottom, that the learners are using different senses. The number of senses is more at the bottom. And when it comes to the upward, where we can see the number of senses is reducing, then comes the visual symbols and verbal symbols. There, the abstractness is more. The number of the participants who are actively engaged is less. They are becoming observers. They are using their thinking capacity to think more. So this is happening at the higher levels. And we can see that the number of senses using is reducing when it comes to the upward. So this is about the real cone of experiences, where Edgar Dale has proposed in his publications of the audiovisual methods in teaching in 1946, and in 1969 it was revised. So in what way this cone of experiences is beneficial? When we think of the benefits of the cone of experiences, the first one, that it facilitates effective and meaningful learning. So the learning should make meaningful, so that the teacher should use different mediums and medias in order to get the interest of the learners. Number two, use a variety of materials and mediums to maximize the learner experiences. So it's monotonous to use the one type of method or one kind of verbal explanation so that the attention of the learners may reduce. And the third benefit that we can think is that this cone of experience, it helps us to think about the sensory impact of our learning content. So what is the sensory impact is that how much senses are used by the learners in order to retain a particular information. In such cases, at the lower level of the classes, the primary classes, we can see that the direct purposeful experiences are more useful than the abstracting. So the number of senses used by the learners will be more at the lower level, and coming to the higher level, the abstractness can be increased so that they become more thinkers rather than the observers or the participants. That is important. And another one where the cone of experience, it has more influence, that is in the media field. How is it important is that Bolcom has proposed one aspect, that is multimedia cone of abstraction. That on the screen you can see what is this multimedia cone of abstraction. So here it is proposed by Bokel et al. And the term is multimedia cone of abstraction. From the less abstract to the more abstract it's going. That is the virtual reality, video, image, non-verbal audio, narration, text and simple. So this is another important influence that was made by the Edgar Dale's cone of experiences. We can see that I have already told the number of senses used by the learners that should be more, but coming at the higher stages, the number of senses will be reduced, where the teacher used different kinds of methods in order to clarify the abstract concepts. So it doesn't mean that the concrete experiences should be provided to the learners. It's not like that, because in order to have a meaningful learning experiences, different kinds of medias and mediums should be used by the teachers. So here we can see that this cone of experiences, it is important in the field of learning, in the field of media, and in the field of the developmental process of the learners. So what we can conclude is that the cone of experience, it is very important. As far as the adult learners are concerned, how is it important is that the adult learners' learning process, it includes many abstract concepts. So how does this abstract concept is handled by the teachers, and how they are presenting, whether they are using different kinds of signs, symbols in order to get a clear clarity about the abstract concepts. That is also important. So the misconceptions should be wither away, and the right concepts of the cone of experience, that is, it is a visual analogy where it is not a hierarchy of learning efficiency, and this consists of the 11 stages which range from, it is a continuum from the concreteness to the abstract when it goes at the higher level. Hope that you got a clear clarity about the cone of experience and how it can be used while teaching the learners. Thank you.